Oh yeah, TP back here. Another video. Sorry it's been so long, guys, since my last one. We were really putting all our eggs in the basket for champs, so we weren't streaming, we weren't making videos. We did not want people to know what we did at all. We lost regionals. It was kind of a hit to our egos, and SB literally just countered us. They taught us about steady aim and how strong it was. Going into champs, you know, we learned a little bit. We learned from them. I'm glad they taught us that before champs, to be honest. I'd much rather lose the regional qualifier than lose the big one. So, won this blang blang. I just wear it around all the time. I make people kiss it, and if they want to talk to me, that's cool. I don't really do that, but I like to say that because I'm like cool on the internet, but not in real life. Moving on, champs was a fun format. Love pool play. Love the production at the event. Activision always goes hard. I wish they would have champs events every month, but that's a lot of money and they can't do that. But I love the pool play. I wish we'd have that a lot more at tournaments. It gives teams a lot more chance to play against the top teams and move along the bracket. The teams that get the top 2 or top 3 in the pool move on and get seeded accordingly. I feel like it's a lot more consistent. Obviously, the way brackets work, some people are going to have an advantage and some don't, but winning champs was the best feeling ever. Deej is hanging out with me. Deej! My girlfriend. How was champs? Did you have fun? How was it as a spectator at champs?
It was a lot of fun. The production value was insane. And it was really cold.
It was cold. It was cold. They had these giant air vents. We were on top of LA Live. It's sort of like a parking garage feel. But anyways, you go up to the roof. It's in this giant like tent / building hybrid. It was weird. But anyways, you go inside. And most of the venue is pretty warm just because of all the equipment and stuff they have in there, all the lights. But you go over to the main stage and there's like 6 giant pumps of AC just flowing in. It was absolutely freezing. That's why you saw most of the people wearing jackets and stuff over their jerseys or under their jerseys, etc. But how were the matches, Deej?
They were entertaining to watch. I liked how there was so many crucial, I guess, games to watch at one time, so you could go to different stations and look constantly at good teams being played.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What was your favorite match?
The Optic versus Cole match.
Yeah.
And then the Envy versus Optic match.
Did it scare you when we went 3-2?
Yeah.
Went
I had to leave the venue when you guys played.
Deej is scared when we have close matches. She feel like she's like a bad voodoo. I wish she'd come on camera with me, but she's being shy. She's the cutest little thing ever. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it was a lot of fun. The Optic match was definitely the best match of the tournament. I went really clutch on the Sovereign Dom to bring it back and go into the last map, and then me and Krim just took over, and there's no way they were just going to beat us on that Warhawk. But giant weight lifted off of our shoulders once we won that event. Props to Envy as well. They had a crazy run. They had probably the hardest bracket, and they fought their way through. Nameless is probably one of the best players at the tournament. He had so many giant clutches for them. Like, even to get into the bracket, they had, like, the round-robin thing. He was just going off the entire time. Studdy, Merc, Rambo, you know, they all had a great event. So, kind of disappointed with all the roster changes going on. I don't want to go into roster changes too much with all that's going on. I think they're pretty stupid for the most part. Some good teams were formed. We're definitely going to have to put in a lot of work to stay on top, but they just keep setting themselves back. But anyways, I'll get back to that point. I want to move on to PAX, where we just were in Boston this last weekend. That's my impersonation of a Boston accent. That's all I'm going to try to do, because it'll probably be pathetic. But PAX was a lot of fun. We were so relaxed after we won champs. You know, we practiced a little bit before PAX, but we weren't, you know, we knew what we could do. We knew we were going to go into the tournament and win. We know what we can do now. Champs was the thing we put all our effort into, and once we won that, not only did it boost our confidence even more to realize how good we are. We only lost 4 maps the whole tournament at champs, but we were all just anxious to play that tournament. And if we didn't win, all the success we had wouldn't have been the same if we didn't have this blang blang on our fingers. But the fact we won champs, we went into PAX. It was probably one of the first tournaments where I didn't really care that much about playing. It was sort of like we were going to show up to our matches and we trust each other enough to perform. As long as none of us suck, we're probably going to win 3-1 or 3-0 and 3-2 in the final against SB. But PAX was a lot of fun. I wish there were more matches we could have played. it got kind of boring. You know, we'd show up, play a match, we'd 3-0 the team, and then we'd be done for the day. It's like, why can't you do a round robin? I almost said red robin. Yum! I'm retarded. Moving on, I wish they could be like pool play, a round robin, something to generate more matches so we're not just sitting around all day. You know, create more content for the stream, create more matches so it's more fun for the viewers. But anyways, that's just me bitching a little bit. But still fun. Ended up taking the tournament. We beat SB 3-0 in the winter final. We played them again. Didn't get a continuation even though they got a continuation against us in the final. Okay, that makes sense. Moving on. We ended up winning 3-2 again in the final. The format was 2 best-of-5s instead of a continuation. So that I'm really happy that the rules just magically change after every tournament. Moving on. PAX is great. Now, I'm going to move on to the roster changes. I'm not going to say much about them, to be honest. There's some really good teams formed. I'm upset that some teams made roster changes, especially when they did so well. So basically, like every team, since we're the only team still a roster. Rise better get a spot in the league, or I'll be really, really upset, because they're the only team besides us that are still a roster. If that doesn't happen, then MLG's got something wrong with them, seriously. I just want to talk about a little bit more why we're so ahead of teams. I feel like a lot of players on teams don't change anything. You can switch up players all you want, but if you don't take the time to fix mistakes you are having as a player, people can't take blame. I'll admit, I'll be the first one on my team. If I'm just sucking, be like, guys, don't worry, I'm sucking. I won't do that ever again. Teams don't do that. You can switch around players all you want. If you keep making the same mistakes, the teams are not going to win. The teams still don't know what perks to use. They don't know how we play domination. They don't know how to play blitz. Teams are still using 2, 3 ARs on Warhawk. You're not going to win doing that. Make a change. It's just, I'm not complaining because it's honestly easier for us. It's annoying to play against, but it's getting easier and easier. We're going to have to put in work to stay on top. Definitely with all these new teams, I feel like teams are going to have a lot more fire to beat us after we've been winning so much. Niagara's coming up in a few weeks. We'll see if teams can put something together. But it's more of a, just trust your teammates. Teams are so quick to bitch at each other. Say like, well, he shit the bed. He had a bad event. Blah, 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 blah. And I feel like that's another reason why the whole stats page is, it's good for the spectators and the fans to see who's really performing on each team, but it's also a hindrance to teams. Sometimes stats don't really tell the whole story. Like at Champs, for example, I had a couple Octane Dom sides where I'd go like 6-14. But they let me neutral their home flag like 7 times. Oh, shit, if they're going to let me get to their home flag that many times, I'll go 6-14 all day. I'm going to get my team 30, 40 points on Dom. It's just little things like that that don't really tell the whole story. And that's all I really have to say. Teams need to focus on getting better, fixing mistakes, trying to do what we do. You can't really play the same way as us because we're some of the most naturally talented players in Call of Duty. That's why we've been so consistent. And I feel like we just keep getting more comfortable with each other. We didn't lose a search. Me and Damon had our best search event at PAX when we were sucking. It's things like that. Like, we will sit there and talk and improve and learn together and give each other constructive criticism, and we can take it and get better. And I just feel like a lot of players in the league just cannot do that in the right way. So that's all I really have to say about the roster changes and stuff. I'm excited to play some new teams. A lot of new energy. Niagara's going to be a really fun event. Teams are going to come out really hot to try and beat us, and we're going to do our best to keep improving. Always get better. I have 15 championships, and I have things to improve on. I suck at search sometimes. I suck at Octane search. I need to get better at that. Next example right there. Hopefully we can win, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. More videos coming out every day. Sorry I've been so darn lazy, but I wanted to win champs, but now I got this. Sorry. I'm going to move on from there. I'm just going to end the video right there. Follow, subscribe. I love you guys. Ring, blank, blank. Later, guys.